Alright everyone, Christian here from CK Wraps. I'm going to show you how to install some gloss black. This is Avery Dennison gloss black on a Hyundai Genesis roof. So first of all, what we've done is we've prepared the roof, cleaned out all the crevices. As you can see, everything's nice and clean in here. I've masked off the front window, that way when we cut, we don't cut anything and ruin anything. And clean all in here and everywhere else, just to make sure we get a nice even stick or even adhesion all the way through. Shark fin antenna is removed, and I've wiped the entire roof down with isopropyl alcohol to ensure that there's no contaminants or grease on top of the roof. So what you do is you cut your piece of vinyl to size. It's already been measured, already been cut. I'm going to drape this over top. This is doing this alone, so I'm going to show you how to do that all alone, all by yourself. Alright. So I've got a couple of magnets on the other side. Stick the vinyl down. Going to use a bit of this Vivid Shield Guard scratch protection for applying the vinyl, or applying the vinyl with the buffer. We're going to spray this on. I have a fresh buffer. This is brand new. And just a blue 3M squeegee. You want to be a little bit more careful with gloss black. You want to minimize swirl marks, fine scratches, because it does have a tendency to get them. Haven't figured out a way to completely eliminate it. So yeah, we use a solution. Soap and water works too. I prefer to use the Vivid Scratch Guard because it has the added benefit of hardening the vinyl afterwards, preventing scratches. So just peel the backing off a little bit at a time and just roll it. Walk to the other side. Just smooth it all out afterwards. We're just going to get the backing off. In the sunroof. Rolling the backing off eliminates any unnecessary lines that you might get when removing it. Creases, I should say. Alright, get rid of that. Be careful you don't step on that because it's like glass, or it's like ice actually. So you want to be careful when you're walking around it. It's better just to put it away somewhere, that way you don't slip. I'm just gonna not use any heat on this at all until I get to some corners, just to make them nice and round. And that's about it. Maybe a little bit in the sunroof area. So right now this technique is called glassing. We're gonna glass the vinyl. You'll see why. As you can see, it's becoming smooth like glass just by me pulling on it. That way when we go to apply, everything's nice and flat. We don't have anything to worry about. I'm just pulling. As you can see, I'm pulling on an angle. You want to stretch over a larger area as opposed to a smaller area. You don't want to stretch tiny bits. It causes overstretching. If you stretch a small area, it can discolor the vinyl, or it can pull back later on. So we just want to minimize that. All I'm doing really here is just lifting it up, giving us just a little bit of a pull, and evening it out. These magnets are rubber coated so they don't damage anything. Customer standing right over there. That's about it. So this roof has been repainted. What we want to do is when you're doing a repainted service, you want to minimize repositioning. Now, Avery's great for repositioning in the fact that you can reposition it without it sticking at all, really. As soon as you stick it down, or as soon as you use your buffer on it, and you smooth it down, yeah, then it's stuck. You can lift it up and reposition it with very little damage or distortion to the vinyl at all. Other brands, I find that they don't work exactly the same way, so this is a much nicer and much superior material to whatever else is on the market as far as installing vinyl on your own goes. I always recommend using this brand on your own. Yeah, so I'm gonna grab my solution. Spray a little bit on the buffer. And kind of just wet the whole roof. There's no chance that I can get it under any edges because everything's covered right now. So we don't have to worry about that. You might have to worry about that if you're working on smaller pieces. I use this spray for chrome wraps, mostly, and just gloss black. Other gloss colors they don't show swirl marks as easily, so I don't use it too often other than those few select wraps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, it's called a bracket. You go right down the middle, keep your squeegee on an angle, and just squeegee down. So you would start here and make a bracket. If you were to peel half of the backing off at one time, cut it away, and then put that down and then bring the other side over and do the same thing, you'd create that bracket. I've removed the entire backing all at once just because for me it's easier. So whatever works for you, do half at a time or do it all at once. So what I like to do is go around the edge here with my finger. One thing I didn't touch on was that when it comes to a repainted surface, if you reposition the vinyl after you've laid it down, it has a chance to lift the clear coat or the paint. So you want to try to avoid that completely. Customer is aware that his roof's been repainted and he knows the situation of it because this was already wrapped before, not by me. So we're just going to squeegee down to the edge. I like to keep the strokes minimal. I don't want to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's just going to create a lot of swirl marks. So we're just going to try to keep it as simple as possible. And we just work our way right to the edge. So this is the edge right here. We're obviously going to wrap in here a bit to make sure that's all good. There's a rubber seal that comes right to this edge here. We're going to trim about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch beyond that and then tuck it in. But I'll show you all that in a minute. So again, I go straight from the top to the back, even strokes. Keep your squeegee on an angle, helps you avoid wrinkles. You're going to want a minimal temperature of around 65 degrees or around 18, 20 degrees Celsius or 65 Fahrenheit, 70 Fahrenheit. Just to make sure the vinyl has a good consistency. When it gets too hot, it stretches really easily. And if it's too cold, it can become very brittle and snap like glass. So we just want that right temperature in the middle. Again, we're at the edge. Finish this off over here. Perfect. So we're good. I'm not going to go over this again with the squeegee. I know I've done a thorough job. You can also run your heat gun over top of it afterwards to ensure that you don't have any air. Because what the heat will do is it'll heat the moisture that's in that air bubble, and that'll expand. So it'll show you where your air bubbles are. Oh, that buffer's done. All right. So we're going to take our blade. I have a 30-degree blade. These are great. They're a lot better than your standard 9mm blades. I'm going to trim, I know that this edge is only about 1/2 inch. I'll trim it about 3/4. And then we fold it down and trim off the rest afterwards. Now I know it goes down a little bit further here, so I'm going to leave a little excess to maximize coverage. Right here I'm going to trim just beyond the sunroof, on the back side of it, on that little plastic lip. That way I'm not cutting anything at all. And be sure that your blade is fresh. It'll help with cutting big time. I use my finger as a guide, so I keep it on the edge. Try to. Depends on what side and what hand you're cutting with. Alright, we're going to pull this off quickly so we don't get any of this in the customer's car. Alright, scrap piece, garbage. So as far as this edge goes, I will show you, actually I will lift this back a bit. I'll show you kind of where this edge, or where that seal is. So that seal is right there. We're gonna cut just a little bit beyond that. I'll actually probably just run my knife right in that crack right there. I'm gonna trim off a little more. Again, the blade is never gonna touch the paint. Kind of defeat the purpose if we were cutting everyone's paint. Because in a sense this is a paint protection, so we want to keep it like that. Get rid of that. So what I'm going to do here is trim off some of this as well. I'm going to trim it back quite a bit because I'm going to round this corner off right here so that we can tuck it in really nicely and it can leave us a nice round paint-like corner. Make sure your blade's not sticking out too far. Again, I'm using that edge as a guide for my other fingers here, and they're all resting together. Now we can get rid of that. Again, we'll have a look here, see where the seal is. So what I'm going to actually do is trim some off, just under the masking tape. You can't really scratch the glass with the blade. You can if you push too hard, just don't push too hard. Use a fresh blade. Again, using that edge as a guide. Alright, so here's where we may start to make things nice. Again, I'm going to fold the vinyl, I'm going to push the vinyl in there just a bit, and then I'm going to trim just after that seal. This is where you want to be a little cautious. You want to make sure you've left enough vinyl so that we're not cutting short, otherwise you just kind of wasted all your time doing this. Because if you cut and the car is white, we're going to see white if you cut too short. So always make sure you don't want to cut right on that edge. You want to cut beyond the edge and tuck the vinyl into the seals. Creates a more durable finish in the end, looks better, and you have less of a chance of messing it up. This one here, the seal comes so close. The seal comes so close to the roof that we take the hard edge of the squeegee and push it right up against it. It's kind of a lot of walking around in circles, but you gotta go side to side. Alright. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to dry it off a little bit. Because you don't want to heat the vinyl. You don't really want to heat the vinyl when there's fluid on it, not with a heat gun, because it has a tendency to kind of overheat or leave marks. So you just want to get that off in that area. We'll clean this roof up afterwards and polish it up nicely. So to make these corners nice, I'm going to show you what to do right now. Grab your heat gun. Get it nice and hot. It's hot now. And we're going to push down. If there's going to be any stretching, just going to push down on that corner right there. And I know that I'm going to be cutting just beyond here. Same thing with here. You push down kind of towards you. Make sure there's no wrinkles. Push this down into here a little bit more. Yeah. Push it right down to that seal and make it nice and pretty. So what we can do now is take our blade and run it on the window side now. This will leave me with about 1/4 of an inch, an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch to tuck in. That I can still push down. Actually, I'll trim up this side too while I'm here. Cut on the window side again, leave myself enough vinyl. Might as well cut this out while I'm here. The last person who did this left the vinyl, just pushed the vinyl in. It's my pet peeve. I hate it when people push the vinyl in. So I'm going to make sure I hold on to it and take the vinyl out. Let's push down here. You can see that the roof's been repainted right here, and then this roof was wrapped before, so they didn't remove the antenna or all the vinyl completely. So this is little bits left over from them pushing the vinyl in. While I'm on this side, I'll grab a wrap glove. Should be somewhere around here. And I'm going to start laying this in. So just take your time, warm it a bit, work it around slowly. I like to get this back part done first. We'll have to push this down. Stuck to here actually. Could have used masking tape on here, would have helped. There we go. You can use your buffer. Just make sure you have your corner, your edge down mostly. And then you can use your buffer to squeeze you the rest. It keeps everything nice and consistent. Got a wrinkle there and it's going to bug me, so I'm just going to reposition it. So what we can do here is there's an edge right here. I'm going to trim this off. It's going to alleviate some strain on the vinyl. You can see that from this angle. Trim on the back side. Again, we're not cutting any paint here. Same deal over here. We're going to want to alleviate the strain here. Just push this down, make it pretty. Get as much coverage as you can. And grab this piece, trim off the rest. I have a lot of excess down here. Just run that on the bottom. Same deal here. Perfect. Get rid of those. Again, I'm just running the back of my blade along this edge. Go over it with your fingers afterwards, make sure everything's nicely pushed down. There's very little stretch here still, so nothing to really worry about. Nothing should ever lift. Let's bring the heat gun to the other side and finish up the other corners. So, what you want to do here, you want to keep it elevated with one hand, a little tension on it, and just kind of push it down. This is how you make nice corners. Heat. I got a wrinkle, but I want to get the line out. There we go. Let's push this corner in. Cool. Finish this side up. So, have this little tool I like to use, which would be this guy here. I know window tinters use it a lot. I also use this. It's great for doing stuff like this. It's great for lifting these seals up. And running along the edge. I'm sorry, I'm just reaching for my buffer. I'm just pressing the vinyl right in there. Just got to get it going here, and then everything will go smooth and easy. Smooth and easy. So now we can pull back a little bit on the squeegee. This is more of a custom tool, not a standard tool that you would use or what you can find at most wrap shop stores or online. So I'm not sure. I get these from a window tint friend of mine. I'm not sure where else you can get them from. You want to be careful because we don't want to rip the vinyl or the seal. I want to make sure we've got a nice clean edge all the way down. And I'm just pushing down. Oops. Always want to push down with your squeegee as opposed to running it across. Just ensures a nicer finish. Move to the other side. I use this because it's thinner, it's easier to get in between the seals. Helps a lot. Perfect. So when we go to put that trim back on, you can see that corner is beautifully rounded. Same deal for this piece back here, except that this one is just closer to the edge. So this one's probably a little bit easier to do on this particular car. So if you are doing a Hyundai Genesis, super easy. Again, I'm pushing in and down. Make sure that corner is nice and round as well. Fantastic. So I'll show you afterwards when I put the trim on, you'll really get a good idea on how it'll look. Some installers might be watching this, they're probably like, why is this guy leaving so much vinyl? I just would rather be thorough. But whether I cut down to this edge here or I leave a little bit extra in here, doesn't really matter as long as everything's fully covered and all the air's out. And it just looks pretty. And push right into the corner. We'll finish up this piece right here. Dry that off a bit because I'm going to be heating it. Just get it soft. Get the buffer out. wrinkle there once you get it out. Cut again here to alleviate the stress and trim off any excess. Perfect. Alright, we're looking good. We are looking good. Okay, we're going to trim off the excess. Go over it with our fingers. Have a look. Everything looks good. What's that? Remove the masking tape. Stick the trim pieces back on so I can show you exactly how the corners look. So line up these clips. Make sure everything's good. It's nice and tight. Okay. Let's have a look at the corner. It's a nice round corner. You can't see any wrinkle or any crease line. Same thing over here. Nice round corner. No creases. That's how you want your wraps to look on every panel. If you do what I did right here, as far as corners go, when you get around places like this, everything, your car, will come out so much cleaner. It'll make it look like a professional. Clips just kind of slide a little bit when you take the trim off sometimes, so you just want to make sure everything's good. Perfect. We'll throw the shark fin antenna back on. And that's how you wrap your roof. The same solution that I used to apply the vinyl, I used to clean it. Super minimal swirl marks on this. It just looks sexy and it looks like glass. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Christian from CK Wraps. I'll always post how-to videos, so tag along and learn something.